Welcome to my video blog of a 5-day walk in the Scottish Highlands. I've just arrived at Rannoch station about an hour later than planned because the train had some sort of breakdown, and I'll be heading from Rannoch over towards Glen Etive. This is the start of my walk from behind Rannoch Moor station. Lovely day, sunshine, bit windy, view across Rannoch Moor. There's the loch I'll be walking alongside and camping at later, but the path actually sets off through this forest, and there's the path I'll be walking on, very clear, no problem in finding my way. At the head of Loch Leyden, there is a beautiful sandy beach, which would be a wonderful spot for camping, but it's too early for me. I need to keep going a bit further. And the path soon leaves the loch and heads along a 4x4 track through fairly dense forest before emerging onto the moor, but somewhat above the level of the loch. So this is my spot for the night. It's a lovely spot, as you can see, but it's a tad breezy. The tent is certainly flapping a bit, so let's hope it stays up. And this was the evening view from my tent. Good morning. It's sort of early morning on day 2. It was quite chilly overnight, and just look at the beautiful view around me. There's a wonderful sort of cloud inversion there, looking down to the hills and down to the lake there. That's the view in the morning. Just panning all the way round there. That's down to my camp spot. I'm half dismantled, which is why it looks a little bit of a mess maybe, but that's actually my little tent there. I've just walked a bit of way up to the top of a small hill. I'm walking across Rannoch Moor. I'm in the middle of it. It's the largest wilderness in the United Kingdom, and you can see it just stretches as far as the eye can see, with nothing at all, no houses, no roads, except there is a line of electricity wires which I'm hoping is leading me all the way to the King's House Hotel, which indeed it does, and it has grown considerably since I was last here. And I decide to have a change of plan and to pitch my tent here for the night and have an afternoon walk along Glen Cove before returning to the hotel for the evening. Good morning, it's day 3. The midges are out in force, which is why I've got my hood all tucked up and around to try and protect me for a little bit. This is where I spent last night, my camping spot, which is actually at the King's House Hotel. Now, quite a few other tents, as you can see. It's a popular spot on the West Highland Way, and there's the view to the hills, so I think it's going to be a nice day. That's where I'm heading this morning. That's the entrance to Glen Etive, guarded by the impressive bulk of Stob Dearg. And my route takes me down Glen Etive, following the River Etive on a narrow single-track road. There, and lovely river running down with waterfalls at various places, but as you can see there's a road running all the way down which is not good for road walking. And also unfortunately I'm here on a sunny Saturday in September, and that means there's a steady stream of cars and the dreaded camper vans going up and down, and the road is so narrow and there's no path at the side that I have to keep stepping aside. Further down the glen, the road parts company with the river, the scenery changes and becomes more green and wooded, and I spot a stag grazing gently in a field. And then my first glimpse of Loch Etive in the distance. On arriving at the loch, the very northern tip is quite busy with camper vans and tents on a Saturday night, so I proceed slightly further alongside the loch and find a lovely spot which I have all to myself for the night. Welcome to day 4, and what a change in the weather. Yesterday was too hot, and then now it's quite breezy, and as you can see, very dark clouds overhead, and I've been told the forecast is for very heavy rain later today and through tonight and into tomorrow, so it's going to be a real change. So 2 days to go. I'm just heading off along the side of Loch Etive, which is here, and finally we're onto a path and off the road. Yesterday was all road walking. Better get going. Unfortunately, the path at first was pretty rough and rugged and overgrown in places, which made for slow progress, and there were only occasional glimpses of Loch Etive. Fortunately, a clear gravel track eventually appeared, which made for faster progress, but as the afternoon wore on, it was proving extremely difficult to spot anywhere suitable for camping for the night. So eventually I just had to pick a pretty awful spot, squeezed between a bench up a hill and a fence overlooking the nearby quarry. Not the best of spots for the night. Well, it's the final day, day 5. I'm heading to Oban. I'm about an hour into the day. I just decided to get going this morning. Last night's campsite spot was pretty awful, really. It was overlooking a quarry and on hard, gravelly ground. But I'm pleased I stopped there because there really isn't much anything better further down. You can just see, if you look at the terrain sort of here, or panning round to the other side of the road, you can see there's really very few opportunities to pitch a tent. It's all fern and rocks and sloping. And also it started to rain about 4 o'clock, just after I'd pitched up. Whereas if I'd continued, I'd have been pitching in the wet. Anyway, I got it up. It rained quite heavily in the night, but the tent stood up well. So I packed up early, had an early start, 6:30 alarm. The quarry was working already. Some stags were bellowing in the night. And I'm now on the final leg into Oban. Heavy rain last night, and here's the result. One side of the bridge, there we are. From From the quarry onwards, it is a gravel and a tarmac road which follows the loch fairly closely as it heads towards the sea. I pass a few houses as civilization starts to appear, and then the Connell Bridge across the mouth of the loch comes into view, a grand example of Victorian engineering. I cross the bridge and look down at the turbulent waters flowing underneath, and then follow a path parallel to the railway line for a few kilometres heading into Oban. It's a nice sunny day and I head into my hotel. Have the usual shower, change, collect my resupply parcel of clean clothes, out for the evening, catch the train the next day and head for home.